Welcome to Your Seventh Sense, a show for mission-driven entrepreneurs to evolve into unstoppable intuitive leaders. Listen to Terry and her guests as they share stories of being powered by angels and intuition to achieve their success. Now, let's unlock the power in you with your host, Terry Wildeman.
Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Your Seventh Sense, business powered by angels and intuition. I'm your host, Terry Wildeman. As you know, the purpose of this show is to share phenomenal stories from successful entrepreneurs who have used intuition and or angels and their guides or whoever it is who pops in to help them succeed in business and in life. If you've been listening for a while, you know that we have shared some amazing stories. I, for one, have had amazing experiences myself with angels directing me and guiding me during very tough times. And what I know is that today's guest is going to be giving you some tremendous insights on products that she has created and experiences that she has had in her lifetime to get her to the amazing success that she has right now. My guest today is Natalie Ledwell, and what a rock star she is. She is so much fun to speak with. She is full of insight, full of intuition herself, and full of knowledge that I really would love for you to just stop what you're doing, kick off your shoes, sit on the couch, grab a cup of coffee, and just listen to what she has to say, because she truly is a rock star. Now, a little bit about Natalie before I actually introduce you. Natalie Ledwell is a best-selling author, host of The Inspiration Show, co-host of the cable TV show Wake Up, and founder of Mind Movies, one of my absolute favorite pieces of software. It's a hugely successful and revolutionary online personal development company that has reached over 5.8 million people worldwide. Welcome to the show, Natalie Ledwell. It's so exciting to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here, and especially talking about something as interesting as intuition, because we all have it, yes. But when you combine that with business, that's when you get extraordinary success.
And, so many of us are scared of using your intuition. That is one of the things that we talk about quite a bit on the show, about how fear can get in the way and block our intuition. So can you share a story with us about when you didn't listen and what were the results?
When I didn't, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something when I didn't. I can think of plenty of ones where I did. But I think back in the early days, so my ex-husband, who is still my business partner, he and I were married for 18 years, and we had plenty of, businesses together, like many different businesses. And I remember once we went into business with a friend of ours who was a close friend, but for some reason I was getting a hit that this wasn't going to be, I felt uneasy about it, but he was a close friend for both Glenn and myself. So I'm like, okay, I think we should do this. And in the end, this guy ended up betraying us in the most heartbreaking way. And what I learned from that experience is, number one, listen to your intuition. But number two is, this guy, he had this behavior in him where he would do the wrong thing by other people. And I was under the impression that because we were close friends, he just wouldn't do that to us. And I've realized, like the frog and the scorpion, it was in his nature and he couldn't help it. This is just who he is. So it was a very valuable lesson to learn at a very young age. And it was interesting because I didn't understand, and I ignored the hit that I was getting about not going into business with him, because everything on the outside looked like it was, no, this is all saying that it's right. And I think that's the hardest time for us to listen to our intuition, when our environment and people and everything around us is going, no, this is going to work. But for some reason, your gut or your intuition is telling you something different, and to really trust it in that moment, I think is the best thing and the hardest thing in the beginning to do.
Brilliant story. It's exactly what I was looking for, because so many of us don't listen to those feelings, those intuitive hits. And in some ways, it can really be a blessing. So what was the blessing in that for you?
Well, that lesson saved us from getting in front of that bullet so many times. Because, back in the day, this was back when we owned a nightclub. So when you're in that environment and there's, the party people and the money and the cash and the thing, you learn a lot about human nature very quickly. And then in subsequent businesses from there, every time we went to go into business with other people, I would really sort of check in and go, okay, is this going to be right? And there was many times where we actually made the decision not to do that because it was just, no, this doesn't feel right. And, we'd learn other lessons like, going in business with friends and, they doing the best that they possibly could, but their best was never going to be able to get the job done. And so when that business failed, it was like another lesson. And again, I didn't get a hit on that one because we still remained friends, but I think it was just like, no, you need to experience this to go and learn that lesson. So a lot of that was happening in the beginning, but then once we sort of got into my movies, which actually was a huge intuitive hit for me, despite my whole environment going, no, no, no. And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. That it was actually, things had completely changed for us.
So what led you, because that you actually just took me right into my next question. So can you share a positive intuitive experience that led you to the success that you're in?
Yeah. So so this is 2006. Glenn and I had 4 different businesses we're running at the same time. We're struggling financially. I'm tearing my hair out going, what am I missing? I don't get this. And until then, a lot of I've been a student of personal development from the age of 21. So I was applying a lot of the conscious stuff, those setting your goals and making your plan and doing all those things. But I knew that there was something missing. And then not long after that, I watched The Secret and I went, okay, this is the piece I was missing. So I don't need to know everything. I need to be clear about where I'm going and just hold that thought, hold that emotion, keep that in my mind and then start to move forward. That way, the things that I kind of plan for will show up for me. And so not long after that, a friend of ours came to us and showed us this movie that he'd created. And it was photos and PowerPoint slides with affirmations and music. And it was his version of a vision board. And we'd known from watching The Secret how important it was to be able to visualize vividly and put yourself in that future.
Right.
Now, I still get goosebumps when I think about it because I remember watching that movie and he's like this young 30 single guy, he's got like girls in bikinis and cars that I am totally not interested in. But I remember watching it and all of a sudden going, oh my goodness, this is powerful. And then not long after that, he approached Glenn and I and said, look, I'd really like to go into business with you guys. Let's set up a website. And again, like when you look at the actual reality of what was happening, we had 4 businesses. Glenn couldn't turn on a computer. I hadn't even heard of YouTube and Facebook, and this is 2006. We knew nothing about the internet. I couldn't even type. I still can't type. And I'm like, we have got nothing to contribute to this business. But I know that this is a brilliant idea. And it's like, okay, well, and Brian's like, we'll teach you. And I'm like, okay. And like, we went on, it was intense and it was hard and it was heartbreaking. And, we nearly went bankrupt and there was all these things that happened on the way to launching my movies to the world. But I knew in that moment when I saw that, I'm like, this is going to be something big. And then not long after we launched the initial website, we had all these emails coming in from people going, this is changing my life. And I'm like, boys, this is not a hobby. We need to get serious about this.
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
You said a very powerful sentence that I want to go back to for a moment. We had nothing to contribute. Was that true?
No. But we didn't think we had anything to do with it.
I wanted to bring that to, I really wanted to go back to that because how many of us think we have nothing to contribute when in fact we really do. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the reason that Ryan approached Glenn and I was because he wanted a couple that he knew could make stuff happen. Like, we 4 businesses, we were movers and shakers. We were eventually going to hit onto the business that would be, create the lifestyle we wanted. And he could see that in us. Now, what we did bring to the table is that we knew, even though we technically didn't know a lot of things until we started to learn it, we knew business and we knew it really well. And Glenn is a marketing genius. But because it was a different medium, it was like the internet, we didn't equate his brilliance here to the brilliance over here until we started to get in.
You have lots of talents and skill sets to contribute.
Absolutely. So much so that we bought Ryan out of the business, a couple of years ago, and we're, flying since then. So
there you go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that is a tremendous lesson for folks to listen to, that intuitively, you needed to do there. You needed to get in with this guy when he approached you. Yet in your mind, I have nothing to contribute, when the reality is you had tons to contribute. So how many times do we self-sabotage ourselves with these kinds of thoughts that we have nothing to contribute?
Yeah. And I think too, the other thing as well is like, Ryan, like honestly, our success we owe to Ryan. He came to us with the idea. He helped us all the technical stuff in the beginning. But then he started to lose interest and sort of petered out, and that was fine. And Ryan's personality was not really in alignment with mine and Glenn's personality. So from our past experience, I was like, this is a red flag, but it's not a deal breaker. Because I'm like, personality we can work around. Yeah. And because of all of our past experience, whether it was to do with human nature, or whether it was to do with business, or was to do with anything, if we hadn't have gone through all of those lessons,
yes,
we wouldn't have, number one, recognized my movies for the opportunity it was, and number two, we wouldn't have been able to capitalize on like we did.
So what you just said is huge. Those lessons contribute tremendously to who you are right now.
Absolutely. There is something from every business that we used to own that we apply in this one now.
Mm-hmm. So when you talk about intuition, everybody has a different experience with intuition. So how does intuition come to you, Natalie?
Well, I have a daily practice, so I can tap into it. And I know we were just talking before we got on the call today that I've been traveling and I'm renovating, so I'm sort of staying at different places, and I haven't been in my practice, and I've really been feeling disconnected and stressful and not coping. And so I'm making a point of getting back to it. But I meditate every day, and I do different types of meditation because it depends on how much time I've got. But my number one easy practice that I do is that the night before I go to bed, I've looked at my calendar. I know what I need to do. I know the tasks I need to complete.
So tell me about your practice, Natalie.
So I have this easy little practice that anyone can do, that I do in the mornings. And and I'm going to get a little scientific for people that may not believe that this kind of stuff works. And that is that when you're waking up and when you're going to sleep in the morning and night, you are in what we call Theta brainwave activity. Right. Now, when you're in Theta brainwave activity, your brainwaves are very coherent with the unified field. Okay, so when you are asking questions or asking for insight or for guidance in those moments, it's easier for those messages to come through. So I make sure that the night before, I've already seen what I'm doing for the next day. I know what my tasks are going to be. So in the morning as I'm waking up, before my eyes have even opened, my brain's just kicking in, I'll ask a question. Now the question could be, how am I going to do this? What's my day? What do I need to do today to move towards my goals? Whatever that is, whatever the question is. And then I stay there long enough to hear the answer. Which is the trick. The trick is to, yes, ask the question, because when you ask the question, you will always receive an answer, but we have to stay quiet long enough to be able to receive it. And one perfect example of this is when I decided I was going to do the inspiration show. And that night it was a couple of, I was watching a movie, then I started reading a book, and I'm like, oh, I know, I need to do a video, video blog. So the next morning I woke up and, I'm like, what does it look like? And then I start to get all these ideas for shows and guests and all this kind of thing. So then I asked, what am I going to call it? And what came through was the inspiration show. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to get that URL. What else you got? Like, that's not going to work. And then it kept coming through. I'm like, okay. So I get up out of bed. Not only was theinspirationshow.com, but theinspirationshow.tv were both available. I'm like, Okay. All right. Got it. Yeah. So really trusting in that is important. And now it's happened. It's too many times that I get that intuition and it comes through, that I always act on it. It's very important.
Do you see images, or do you hear words, or is it just a feeling for you?
Comes through as thought. Yes.
Okay.
So for me, it comes through as it's like a thought or an idea. And it's not like it's somebody else's. It's like it comes in as mine. I think clairsentient is the term for that. Yes. So that's how it comes through for me. And I'll keep going deeper and be more curious and ask more questions to go deeper with it. But for too many times, it's really shown up in a way that's been for my highest good. That I can't ignore it. And if I'm challenged with something, I always, and Glenn always laughs at me. I'm like, just leave it with me. I'll sleep on it. I'll get the answer in the morning. But he knows not to make fun about me anymore doing that.
Well, look at where it's gotten you. That is absolutely amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
So, mind movies. Can we talk about that for a moment, about the power of mind movies and how mind movies can actually help us to increase our intuition?
Yeah. So a mind movie is basically a vision board, but it's the movie version of a vision board. So it's a combination of affirmations and photos and music. Now, the most powerful part of the process of a mind movie is actually making it itself, so that you get into a place where you can really design this life that you want, but you have to get clear about what that is first. And for a lot of us, yes, we want success. We want a successful business. We want to be happy. But when you drill down a little bit further and you can articulate what happy means or what success means in pictures and affirmations and so forth, it's wild how this thing comes together. The music is the secret sauce, because it helps you, when you're visualizing, you need to be in this elevated emotion. You need to be in the higher vibrational emotions of like happiness or joy, or what you're going to be feeling when you're in that future. Because those higher frequencies, because emotions are the frequency we put out into the universe. And so whatever is a match to that frequency is then attracted back to us. This is how we attract these chance meetings and these emails and opportunities that come up, because we're resonating at that frequency, but we do that through our emotions. And so when you choose a song that truly makes your heart sing, that's so meaningful to you that you nearly cry every time you hear it anyway, and you add that to your mind movie, you have this powerful tool to be able to help you really and vividly put yourself in this future inside your mind and reprogram your subconscious mind. So, yeah.
Well, what I love about the software is, as you were saying, we create it. I love being able to choose the pictures that I want, or upload my own pictures, or, you have wonderful music that's attached to this, and to be able to create a movie that I can watch it on my computer, I can watch it on my tablet, I can watch it on my phone. I mean, I love it. And to be able to send it to somebody special, to put movies together, to send to my clients based on specific things that we want to advance. It is a powerhouse of softwares in my book that really feeds into all of the senses. Because you've got the visual, you've got the audio, and it really makes you, when you keep looking at it and listening to it over and over and over, it just becomes a part of you. So I know that you have some gifts for our audience.
You do, yes. So we have 6 pre-made mind movies that we have actually put together on different areas of your life. So we've got, relationships, we have, wealth, we've got business, we've got love, so we've encompassing, and health. So we've encompassed everything when it comes to your life. So with these movies, you can download them straight away. You can download them to any of your devices. But once you start watching them, the cool thing about this is they start to put you into your version of health or your version of wealth.
Nice.
And then you now are starting to populate in your mind what that means to you. Like we said, it's a download, so it's instant. Instantly you can start watching them. And I encourage you to do this, because the shift that you feel, you know, in your mind and in your emotions and in your heart, when you start to watch these mind movies, it's quite measurable. And helping you to get clear about that future is the only way that we're going to get there.
That's really cool. And by the way, the link to get your own 6 movies is right below. So just click on the link right below the video and you'll be able to access your own 6 mind movies. Now, I know you're doing some very special work, Natalie, and it's in another country. Can you share with us a little bit about what you're doing? Because it's very special and extraordinary.
Yeah, so I had my heart broken a couple of years ago, and I was reading a news story about a 10-year-old girl who had killed herself, suicided because she was being bullied. And I don't normally watch the news, and this had come through on my Facebook feed. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those moments in time where I just go, I have to do something. This is unacceptable. Like, suicide is the second leading cause of death for people between the ages of 10 and 24 in the US. That's, you know, we can prevent this. And so with the help of a colleague of mine, we created a social and emotional learning program or curriculum for schools. And we're actually looking at the US right now, but we actually have a program going in Liberia, Africa at the moment. And I was there last year. I'm working with 16 teachers and 500 students. You know, we get online and I do some training with them once a month. But Liberia is an interesting case because it's a post-war country. They've only been out of war, I think, 4 or 5 years. 45% of their population is under the age of 14.
Wow.
Yeah, so we actually have the ability to change a country, you know, through teaching these principles. And every month when I get back online with the teachers, they're just, what the changes that they're seeing in the children, how empowered they're becoming. You know, a lot of them are still in terrible conditions. Their parents, not even with their parents, maybe their parents had died in the war. Whoever's looking after them is resentful, they're getting beaten. But this one class is helping them to shift the way that they see themselves and their own self-image. And they're able to rise above some of the conditions that they're living in. And we've even had the teachers go, can I please teach this in the community? So it's just, I feel like this is my life's purpose. And again, this is one of those moments. I had 3 projects I was looking at. I was looking at a TV show, another TV show, a new book, and the kids program. And I'm like, well, it's not going to be the kids program because I'm not qualified. And, you know, I can't do that. Who do I think I am? Like all of these, you know, beliefs that come up. And I'm like, well, a book or a TV show is way sexier than a kids program. And then, of course, my colleague reaches out to me 2 days later and goes, I want to help you with the curriculum. I'm like, it's going to be the kids.
Yay!
But, you know, every day I work on this program, I feel every cell of my being knows that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Now, are mind movies integrated into the program?
Yeah, so we have an under 12s version of mind movies, which we call Dream Design movies. And then we have new generation or new gen mind movies, which is for the teens. So we've changed some of the categories and more age specific photos and things in there. So yeah, so that it's integrated as well for the schools that do have access to computers. Then we have, we've got, the whole curriculum that goes with that, 24/7 teacher support. It's just, it's a behemoth of a project. That I could never look at the big mountain of it because it would be overwhelming. I would have to, get quiet and just look at the next couple of steps so that I could keep moving forward.
So Natalie, I know you're talking about bringing it here to the United States. What kind of help are you looking for to help you achieve that feat? Because that's a pretty tall order.
Yeah, so I speak. I have a keynote or a signature talk that I talk about how this integrated approach to social emotional learning is really what's missing at the moment. A lot of the anti-suicide or bullying programs are kind of like after the horse is bolted. But what this program does is get in front so that we're teaching the empowerment and self and getting out of shame and guilt before they get into these particular situations. So I can talk at schools, any conferences that or superintendents or whatever that you have contacts with. I would love to connect and see how I can share this message and really help to empower the next generation of kids coming through right now.
So audience, you now know what we need you to do. And remember, down below is the link to Natalie's 6 My Movies. They're for free, and they are absolutely brilliant. So please take advantage of that. And Natalie, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today. Your story is very special. What you are doing with the kids in Liberia is very, very special. Your new purpose, I'm going to say your new purpose, because I think when we last talked, that wasn't even on the landscape. So I think it's absolutely brilliant. So that actually came up pretty fast with all of that. So I just want to also have people notice that we were together a year and a half ago. We haven't really connected that much since. And in a year and a half's time, this project has launched.
Yeah.
For you. So that's a big deal. So people stay open to the opportunities that land in front of you, and just notice how you feel and listen to those intuitive proddings, those intuitive hits that may take you to some amazing, amazing success. Thank you again, Natalie, for being here. I'm your host, Terry Wilderman, for your 7 cents. And again, click on the link below for your free gift. And we look forward to seeing you next time. To your success.
Unlock the power in you and elevate your 7 cents with our intuitive leadership training programs, masterminds, VIP days, and retreats. To learn more, visit intuitiveleadership.com.